Before smartphones took over everyday life, childhood felt completely different. Kids weren't glued to screens all day, and most memories were made outside instead of online. Back then, people actually talked face to face, neighborhoods felt alive, and even simple things somehow felt more exciting. Today we're looking back at 15 things kids did before smartphones changed everything. And if you grew up during that time, chances are you'll remember every single one of these. Back then, almost everyone had important phone numbers memorized. You knew your best friend's number, your grandparents' number, and probably your own home phone by heart. There was no contact list sitting in your pocket. If you wanted to call someone, you actually had to remember the numbers yourself, and once you memorized them, they stayed in your brain for years. Funny enough, many people today can barely remember their own number without checking their phone first. Before texting existed, there was only one way to see if your friend could hang out. You walked over to their house and knocked on the door. Sometimes you'd hear their parents yell from inside, "They'll be out in a minute," and suddenly your whole afternoon was planned. There were no group chats, no location sharing, and no endless messages asking where everybody was. You just showed up and hoped your friends were home. Back then, kids spent hours outside without getting bored. Bikes covered the sidewalks, basketball hoops echoed through neighborhoods, and every empty lot became a playground. Parents usually had one simple rule: be home before the streetlights came on. That was enough. Nobody carried phones, and somehow everyone still made it home safely. Summer days felt endless, and the outside world felt bigger than it does now. Going to the video store felt like an event. Families walked through aisles of VHS tapes searching for the perfect movie while kids begged for snacks near the checkout counter. And if the movie you wanted was already rented out, you had to pick something else. There was no streaming, no instant replay, and no endless scrolling through apps. Movie night actually felt special because it took effort. Kids today can watch cartoons anytime they want, but back then you had to wait for your favorite shows to come on television. Saturday mornings were legendary. You'd wake up early, grab a bowl of cereal, and sit inches away from the TV before the cartoons started. Missing an episode meant waiting another entire week. Somehow that made it even more exciting. Taking pictures used to feel completely different. You couldn't snap 100 photos and delete the bad ones instantly. Every picture mattered because film was limited. Families carried disposable cameras on vacations, birthdays, and school events, then waited days to see how the pictures turned out. Half the fun was opening the envelope and discovering what actually came out. Before cell phones, every family shared one house phone. If you called your friend, there was a good chance their mom or dad answered first. And if someone else was using the phone, you had to wait your turn. Long conversations usually meant stretching the phone cord across the room for privacy while everybody else yelled for you to hurry up. Hearing your favorite song on the radio was a huge deal. People sat beside cassette players waiting for the perfect moment to hit record before the DJ interrupted. Making the perfect mixtape took patience, timing, and a little bit of luck. And somehow those homemade recordings felt more personal than playlists today. Road trips looked very different before GPS. Families unfolded giant paper maps across the car dashboard trying to figure out where they were going. Missing a turn sometimes meant getting completely lost for an hour. But oddly enough, that became part of the adventure. People actually learned roads and remembered directions because they had to. Before texting during class, students passed handwritten notes folded into tiny squares. Some were funny, some were embarrassing, and some caused serious trouble if the teacher caught them first. It was basically the old-school version of instant messaging, except it took a lot more courage. Making a custom CD was almost an art form. You carefully picked songs, arranged them in the perfect order, and spent time designing the cover. A burned CD wasn't just music, it felt personal. People made them for road trips, parties, or sometimes for someone they liked. One thing younger generations may never fully understand is what it felt like to truly disappear for a while. Once you left the house, nobody could instantly contact you. There were no read receipts, no constant notifications, and no pressure to reply immediately. Life felt quieter because people weren't connected every second of the day. Life before smartphones wasn't perfect, but many people still miss how it felt. Conversations seemed more personal, time moved a little slower, and everyday moments somehow felt more real. The world changed incredibly fast, and the generation that grew up before smartphones experienced something future generations may never fully understand. And maybe that's why so many memories from those years still feel impossible to forget.